Hello everyone, and welcome to a new series of top 10 videos. I am Chekas, and this series is self-explanatory. We will be doing top 10 videos ranking all types of chess-related stuff, which have to be one of my favorite hobbies. Top 5 hobbies to be precise. The first video will be for the most dominating performances in chess history. Let's go over the criteria for this video. Number 1. Level of competition in relation to the winner. If the winner is obviously too powerful for the rest of the players, that takes down some of the credit because the result becomes obvious. Number 2. Any type of record that was broken in the performance is taken in consideration. And lastly, number 3. My own opinion. It's impossible to make a top 10 video that is 100% objective. So every top 10 video from me will have a little bit of my own opinion, as it should be. Well, maybe a bit more than that. So without further ado, let's begin. Number 10. Capablanca in New York, 1927. It's not a secret that Capablanca was a very difficult player to defeat, but getting a 14 out of 20 score with 2.5 points ahead of the second place against 5 of the best players in the world at that period of time without dropping a single game is just amazing. It seems unbelievable that only a couple of months later he will lose the World Championship match against Alekhine, which shows up that this lineup of players was no joke. Number 9. Botvinnik World Championship Tournament 1948. Alekhine died in 1946, being the world chess champion, and for 2 years, players prepare for the tournament that will decide who will be the next world champion. All of these players were strong candidates for the crown, and everyone thought this will be a very close tournament, that anyone could win. But, by the surprise of everyone, Botvinnik made things clear and dominated the tournament from start to finish. 3 points ahead of Smyslov with a score of 14 out of 20. He was the new world champion and started the new era of chess of Russian domination. Number 8. Kasparov Linares 2001. Kasparov at 38 years old, and only 4 years before his retirement, was still powerful enough to not only beat the most talented young players of the early 2000s, not only to win one of the most prestigious tournaments in chess history, but to do it in a dominated way with a score of 7.5 out of 10. Notice that none of the other players reach even 50% of the total points, which is a record. Number 7. Alekhine Sanremo 1930. Alekhine was one of the most aggressive players of all times, and this result is more than enough evidence to prove it. 13 wins, 2 draws, and no losses in a very long tournament against these players is quite an achievement. Even though Capablanca didn't participate in this tournament, I don't think it would have done so much of a difference against this inspired Alekhine. Number 6. Carlsen Nanjing 2009. Carlsen at this point in time was not the world champion, nor the strongest player in the world. He wasn't even the strongest player in the tournament if we talk about Elo, but he was not going to let that prevent him from showing his real power. Total domination against some of the strongest players in the world. After this, everyone was saying that Carlsen will become the world champion one day, and they were not wrong. Number 5. Karpov Linares 1994. This has to be one of the scariest lineups of a tournament that I have ever seen. Every single player was a monster on the board. Beliavsky, who had 2650 Elo at the beginning of the tournament, only scored 2 points out of 13, which talks a lot about how strong was this Linares tournament. And Karpov won it with ease. Winning this tournament was child's play for Karpov. With a score of 11 out of 13 and 2.5 points ahead of world champion Garry Kasparov, Karpov took this first place trophy home. Number 4. Fischer, US Championship 1963. Fischer is one of the few players that have many dominating performances. I could even do a top 10 dominating performances by Fischer alone. But right now, we are focusing on the best ones. And just look at that. It can't be better than this. It really can't. It's a perfect score in a US Championship. It's true that many of the strongest players in the world didn't play this tournament, but it still had players like Reshevsky, Byrne, and Evans. The fact that Fischer didn't give even a single draw speaks a lot of the hunger that Fischer had to become not only the best player in the world, but the best player in chess history. Number 3. Fischer. Candidates 1971. Immediately we have Fischer again to take the third place in this video. In 1970, Fischer won the Interzonal with a score of 18.5 out of 23 points, winning the last 7 games in a row, which made him qualify for the candidates matches, in which he made an unbelievable performance, demolishing the best players in the planet with perfect scores. He could have very well win 4 games and shield the last 2 against Taimanov, and just make draws to rest and prepare for his next match. But no Fischer. As I said before, he wanted to prove everyone that he was the best player in chess history. And this very well proved it. 6-0 against Taimanov and 6-0 against Larsen. It's already spectacular. And in the finals against Petrosian, Fischer won the first game that gave him a record of 20 consecutive victories that no one has ever broken since. What a performance! Number 2. Sofia Polgar, The Sack of Rome, 1989. In second place, we have Sofia Polgar, with an extraordinary performance. With only 14 years old and 22.95 ELO, she went to the Rome Open tournament and won with an incredible score of 8.5 out of 9. Being the clear underdog, she managed to defeat 2 international masters and 4 grandmasters and achieve a performance of 28.73 ELO. You know what, Fide? Make an exception here. Just give her the GM title directly. I think she deserves it and no one will complain. This tournament is best known as the Sack of Rome, and in my opinion, is the ultimate Cinderella story. The reason why I put this in second place is because the other dominating performances were expected, since were done by the best players in the planet at that period of time. This one was an underdog climbing her way to the top while going on a rampage. Absolutely amazing. Before going to the first place, we have some honorable mentions. Capablanca, New York, 1915. Lasker, New York, 1924. Alekhine, Baden-Baden, 1925. Nimzovich, Dresden, Schachberin, I'm probably saying that wrong, 1926. Soviet Union Olympiad, 1974. And number 1, Caruana, Sinfield Cup, 2014. In this tournament participated 6 players of the top 10 highest ranked players at this particular moment. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 5, number 8, and number 9. Caruana was the 3rd ranked player in this tournament. This is considered the strongest tournament in chess history, with an average rating of 28.01. Absolutely insane. Double round robin, for a total of 10 rounds, and these are the results. Saying that Caruana started the tournament strong will be an understatement, because he started with 7 wins in a row, to end the tournament with 3 draws, 3 points ahead of Magnus Carlsen, and a performance of 3103 ELO. Caruana fits every criteria point in this tournament. He was not the strongest player. He was undefeated. First place alone and 3 points ahead of second place, and broke the record of highest top level performance in the strongest tournament of chess history. Congratulations! And that's it for today's video. If you think I missed any dominating performances that should have been in the list, comment it in the section down below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.